YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger episode 43. So this was something I always say at the beginning, your standard Zenkaiger fare. Kind of a mix of something plot related and something dumb related. And it made for a pretty solid episode overall. You know, we do have our plot of the week, which is a wind monster whose power is blowing things away. To literally fight this guy who's blowing them away with wind, and that's kind of the challenge of the episode that's going on. And that's where we open the episode. And when we're opening with that, Stacy shows up. Because if you don't remember from last week, Stacy got possessed by evil Navi, and so he shows up and he's like, I'm here to help. And he summons Curry Red Carnival, and afterwards he's like, yo, guys, I got found out by the Toji Gento, so Toad's gonna work with you now. And they're like, okay, shouldn't you go see the grandmother lady, because your storyline is like the same as Alan's from Ghost, like even have the same hairstyle, so you should probably go see the Takoyaki lady, the grandmother. And he's like, oh yeah, totally. So basically they're suspicious of him. Like that's the whole main plot of the episode outside of the wind guy, is that Stacy is like, yeah, I want to join you and turn over a new leaf. And everyone's like not sure about it. Like there's a discussion like, this feels weird. You know, Kaito's like, Stacy and I have the exact same conversation every episode. We've been running this hamster wheel, drawing out this redemption arc for 40 plus episodes. We have the same conversation where he's like, I want to be good, I don't. I want to be good, I don't. And like, that's the whole, he's not doing that. He's just like, I want to be good. He's not doing the back and forth thing. Like, what gives? And that's basically the gist of it. The gist of the conflict is they're not buying it. Like they know something's off and they're not sure what to think about it. And then that leads to Kaiser and Stacy at the warehouse later, and then they get attacked by Tank Guy, who was previously being scolded by the big wall, who's like, how did this happen? How did Stacy get out? And he notices there's something a little bit off with whatever's inside of Navi there. But the bottom line is the final fight goes down there. So you'll have the other Rangers, they're all fighting the wind monster, and this week's gimmick of the week in terms of the roll call is that when they're trying to do the roll call, the wind's blowing them away so they can't, do the roll call properly, which is pretty funny. Another funny bit within it is when they do a Ranger summon, they summon Red Racer and go on Red, and they're backwards, and not Navi gets them mixed up. So there was some funny stuff within that. But basically, the other Rangers are handling that, while Stacy is fighting the tank guy. And I'm not sure where he's coming from, because I know he knows something's up, but he's also talking about, he's like, oh, I'm kind of proud that you're doing this. It's better you shake things up rather than just sit in a cage. And he winds up, like, leaving the battle at the end, and then the other Rangers fight the wind monster up in the mecha, and, we do the classic sort of Zenkaiger unique mech fight with the wind power being the unique obstacle they have to fight. And something weird that happened is, like, at one point they gain the upper hand because Kaiser's like, oh, there's no wind in space, and when he's up in space, we see, like, the back of the O-Ranger version of the mecha. Maybe it's just because we haven't seen it in a while, but it's like from the back, it looked like almost a different mecha formation that had like, because it flips around, like the design of it flips around, so you can see the Shinkenger version. So you see the Shinkenger version with the O-Ranger head back, and for a split second I thought they did a different formation, but it was just him from the back, and I just thought that was weird and worth noting. And the episode ends on a scene with Stacy and the others on a rooftop, and they're like, look, we know you're not the Stacy, we know something's off, this is strange. And Stacy is like, yeah, it doesn't matter what version of Stacy I am or what I am, the point is I want to take the Toji Gento down, and we should work together. And then he jumps off into the moon. And that's the episode. Like, it was overall pretty solid. Like, my thoughts on the episode of the week stuff is basically the same every week, which is, it was decently amusing, there was a few bits that made me laugh, nothing revolutionary. I think it's getting a little bit old for me, but that's about it. But the Stacy stuff was pretty good. I mentioned last week how this whole possession thing was at least a nice way of making the Stacy storyline a little bit different, because as I have mentioned, I am now getting as repetitive as the storyline, but I feel that they've just been doing the same thing every week with Stacy's story, and at least this is a little bit of something different. And what I like about it, too, is that it took me by surprise the way it worked, because I honestly thought this would be a one and done. I thought what was going to happen was that most everyone would trust him except one person, he would get found out at the end, and then everything would go back to normal. But I like that from the beginning, they weren't exactly on board. Like, even the people that wanted to believe it were apprehensive. And I like that it's not one and done. It's going into the next episode. And not only is it going into the next episode, but it's not like they don't know what's going on. Like, they fully know something's going on, but the storyline's continuing. So I kind of like that because it didn't go the way I thought. And made for an overall solid episode and a decent little story beat that felt at least somewhat different. So, solid episode. I would give it a 3 out of 5. But what did you guys think of the episode? Did this go the way you thought in regards to the Stacy possession? How do you want to see the rest of this play out? Let me know in the comments. As always, until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out.